Hopefully it doesn't surprise you. I'm not against people saving the world. It's just not how I ended up here. I've been manufacturing this crazy ESS60 molecule since 1991, selling it to research institutions around the world. They do this crazy toxicity study. The rats live 90% longer, and now I'm in the health space and just trying to do a good job of shepherding that research.
Thank you for joining us for another awesome episode of Bioenergetics Beat. I'm Heather Gray, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and certified bioenergetic practitioner, and today's episode is brought to you by Nikki. Unleash the wellness within. It's a non-invasive, easily affordable, and highly effective approach to optimize wellness. It's a wearable device that puts frequency better-based life in your hands and on your wrist. You're going to want to make sure to stick to the very, very end, because as usual, we have an amazing giveaway you're not going to want to miss out on. But you're not going to want to miss out on one thing that my next guest has to say. I know him personally. I absolutely fell in love with him and his wife and his company and his product and everything about them. They're just incredible people that you're going to want to know. So let's give it up for Chris Burres.
Yay, Heather, I'm so glad to be here. This is going to be an awesome experience. And am I available for the giveaway, or I have to be excluded, right?
We know you can sign up. So yeah, go to the show notes when the episode is out, and you can throw your hat in the ring for sure.
All right, cool. Now I'm excited, because before that,
I don't typically do this, but I was saying to him before we started, I'm like, your bio is too damn cool. I'm actually going to read it. But so he's the founder and chief scientist at My Vital C, where he manufactured a Nobel Prize winning molecule. Like, boom, drop the mic, right? Like, this is incredible. Okay. For the single longest longevity experiment result in history, a full 90% extension of life. He is also published author, host of Uncovering the Secrets to Longevity Health Summit, a podcast host, patent holder, master of comedy improv. Oh, I do stand up. I think we talked about this before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just a man of many talents and, after my own heart. But just, I mean, how many Nobel winning prize people do you know? Like, this is just incredible. So yeah, I want to give it up a second time for Chris Burres.
Wait, I do have to interject here. I am not a Nobel Prize winner, right? Like that is not a thing, right? I mean, it's a thing. It's not a thing that's happened to me. The molecule, the guys who discovered the molecule, and we'll get into it, won the Nobel Prize. And I've been working with this molecule before they even won the Nobel Prize for discovering this molecule. So longer than the Nobel Prize has existed for that molecule.
Okay. Well, inquiring minds want to know, what is this molecule and what's so special about it that it got a Nobel Prize?
All right. So yeah, so for those of you who are listening, I'm actually holding up a model of a molecule. If you're listening, just imagine a soccer ball where the lines on the soccer ball represent the bonds between the carbon atoms. So you have a spherical molecule of 60 carbon atoms. We call this ESS60 because of the 60 carbon atoms. The molecule was discovered at Rice University here in Houston. That's where we're based. In 1985. The three scientists who discovered this molecule won the Nobel Prize in 1996. So a short 11 years from discovery to being awarded the Nobel Prize. The reason they won the Nobel Prize is this molecule is absolutely amazing. It performs as well or better than the current best material in almost every application. So it makes better inks, better batteries, better tires, better photocells. And this is often where kind of health practitioners and people who are trying to be healthier get a little uncomfortable. They're like, you just said ink, battery, tires, photocells. I've never woken up, looked at my car and thought, I need to be taking something from my battery, my car battery, every day. I wonder what it is.
You kind of almost lost me there for a minute. I'm like, where's he going with this?
Okay. So the story gets a little worse first. One of the shapes on the exterior of this ESS60 molecule looks like benzene, right? Benzene is a ubiquitous molecule in our society. We don't have modern society without the benzene ring. And to prove that, just look around, imagine all the plastics, which there are a lot, gone, because the foundational molecule for plastics is the benzene ring. Many medicines have the benzene ring as the foundation, including aspirin, the famous aspirin, a lot of detergents. Like, we don't have modern society without the benzene ring. But benzene is known to be toxic on its own, is known to be toxic and known to be a carcinogen. And because that shape exists on the exterior, actually multiple times on the exterior of this ESS60 molecule, they assumed it would be toxic and they put it in a toxicity study. In that study, they gave, in this case, it was Wistar rats. One group was given water, that's the control group, another group given olive oil, and then the last group given olive oil with as much of this ESS60 molecule as we could get to dissolve in it. Instead of being toxic, the test subjects lived 90% longer than the control group. Yeah, the single longest longevity experimental result on mammals in history, and it's peer-reviewed published research. You can imagine that when that publication happened, my trajectory towards just kind of being a very happy-go-lucky carbon nanomaterial scientist changed. And now I'm in the health space. And so I've written a book, Live Longer and Better. It's actually about kind of the discovery of the molecule, how it ended up in the health space, and then the things that I've learned about longevity as I've been going down this longevity path. I do have a podcast, Live Beyond the Norm. So my life has totally changed really because of that study, which was published in 2012. And I just want to share, I'm a unique person. I think a lot of people, most people who get into the supplement industry get into the industry for two reasons. One of two reasons. The first is they want to make a lot of money and they decide they're going to do it with supplements and off they go. And I have no problem with people making a lot of money, but it's not how I ended up here. The other is, the classic pain to passion, right? Like, they have their own health issue or the health issue of a loved one, and they solve it with the right combination of supplements and clean supplements, and they decide they want to save the world. Hopefully it doesn't surprise you. I'm not against people saving the world. It's just not how I ended up here. I've been manufacturing this crazy ESS60 molecule since 1991, selling it to research institutions around the world. They do this crazy toxicity study. The rats lived 90% longer, and now I'm in the health space and just trying to do a good job of shepherding that research, shepherding even more research. We actually published in May of last year our first paper on this molecule dissolved in olive oil. We actually published that paper with the lead researcher of the original study where the rats lived 90% longer. So that's Dr. Fathi Musa. He's out of the University of Paris. So we're collaborating with him on publishing papers. You're in this industry. You can probably count on your hands the number of supplement companies that do research. And you can also probably count on a smaller hand, I don't know how that works, the number of people who publish that research, right? We're in a very elite group of supplement manufacturers who not only continue to do research, but actually publish that research and move in the right direction. Now, I'll share with you the reason most supplement companies don't want to do research and don't want to publish the research is they're scared of the results they're going to find. They're scared that they're going to throw this in a study and it's going to be negative, and now the whole team has lost faith in it, and now they can't sell the product, right? That's the wrong reason not to do research. Like, maybe it's too expensive. Like, there are studies I would love to do that we may never do because of how expensive they are. But because you're afraid of the results, I mean, I'm a scientist. That's just not how I think. And I do want to share kind of one last piece before I turn it back to you about our journey was kind of painful to get into the supplement space. So in 2012, they published this crazy study. And by the way, I'm really proud of this. Our lab provided the material, and our lab is mentioned in that original study. So we are the foundation. Not only are we the oldest and longest manufacturer and distributor of the molecule on the planet, we also were the ones responsible for that initial study. It comes out in 2012, 2013, mid 2013, we start getting phone calls from this crazy, wacky group. You know them. They're called biohackers. And I can say crazy and wacky because I am now a biohacker. And so I understand exactly what they were thinking. But they would call us and they'd say, hey, Chris, and my business partner, Robert, how much of this stuff should I be consuming? And we're ultra conservative scientists, right? Carbon nanomaterial scientists specifically. And in our mind, what we were hearing is, hey, Chris, that stuff that you sell to research institutions around the world to put into ink, batteries, tires, and photocells, how much should we take? And our thought was, you should probably take 0 of that. The same way you might think about how much components of your car battery should you be taking. We said 0. And to be clear, the literature was also clear that this molecule was safe. We were just ultra conservative carbon nanomaterial scientists, and we're like, look, we don't want the headache, not for human consumption. We started getting 2 to 3 phone calls a week. And these were crazy, wacky biohackers going, hey, I got to share with you, my knee pain is gone. And we would share, you mean the knee pain of your rat, right? Because it literally says not for human consumption on the labeling. And they were like, yeah. So if my rat weighs 275 pounds, does strength training on Tuesdays and Thursdays, should my rat be taking more, right? So these were the types of conversations we were having. My business partner and I were really getting together on a quarterly basis. Do we want to get into the supplement market? And the reality is that we kept saying, no, we don't. No, we don't. It's very different than delivering commercial quantities of a nanomaterial to research institutions around the world. That was the same answer every quarter after quarter. No, we're not interested in getting into this industry until the latter part of 2017. And before I talk about that, in the middle of all that time frame, I found a research paper that said 50% of the supplements this research group had purchased off the market did not have in them what they said they had in them, right? This is exactly why we didn't want to get into this kind of non-standardized and not challenged industry. We'll just go with challenged industry. So fast forward, latter part of 2017, a guy with a big YouTube following starts talking about all the benefits he's getting, taking the product on a daily basis. And our phone went from ringing 2 to 3 times a week to 10 times a day. And kind of one key thing really well, 2 key things. One, it was an entrepreneurial opportunity bigger than we realized, right? So this is something now we've got to consider in a different way. And the other is we looked back at this paper where 50% of the products on the market didn't have in them what they say they had in them. We realized that this was going to happen to this industry, and we are in a unique position as a lab, having worked with the molecule longer than anybody else around. We're in a unique position to deliver a high quality product and keep consumers safe. And then we asked ourselves, so we decided to do it, and we asked ourselves 2 questions. And the first is a moral question. Are we comfortable selling it? Yes, I take it. My wife takes it, who you've met. Everybody on our team takes it. By the way, it's not a requirement. You don't have to take it to work on our team.
I don't know. I saw you guys all drinking the Kool-Aid, like,
right? So they just have access to the research, right? And they have access to the customers who are calling in and the testimonials. And so they all have decided to take it. So yeah, from a moral perspective, comfortable selling it. And then the next is the FDA and the FTC. You got to cross the T's, you got to dot the I's. We're doing that. And we really started launching the product in 2018. And my role was to understand the science, to understand the potential implications. And I've been talking a long time, so I'm going to maybe turn it back over to you.
Maybe? I was about ready to interject because I was like, okay, Chris. No, I think it's fascinating what biohackers do. Like, and these products that started off with one thing and then we go, oops, we find something new from like methylene blue, right? It was a dye, right?
Yeah.
And then now we're using it in the biohacking space for mitochondrial health and, COVID protection and energy, and especially a lot in the Lyme world. And so it's just fascinating to hear that this was a kind of a similar trajectory. And then it was like, oh, wow, look at that.
It's interesting. I'm going to do I don't even know what it's called. It's with a group, anti-aging group. I think they got an Instagram page with a huge following. And they're putting me together with kind of a methylene blue. And so we're going to debate ESS 60 and methylene blue and why you should take one over the other. And the TLDR is you should take them both.
Oh, funny. See, I actually wanted to have that conversation, but with also nitric oxide. Because methylene blue has a tendency to shunt certain nitric oxide stuff off, and I take nitric oxide, so it's like, why would I want to do that? But yeah. I'm starting to find out that it's different types of nitric oxide. So, but no, I think that would be awesome to have like all 3 of you guys on and be like, okay, battle royale, like,
yeah.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, like, I mean, unless you're completely independently wealthy and can just afford all these hacks, like they're they're not exactly cheap, each one, right?
Yep.
Especially if you're taking them on a regular basis.
Yep. 100%.
So how does your product differ than the one that's on the market right now that has kind of a similar name that I just won't say? Like, how do these differentiate from each other?
I'm not sure that there's a product that's similar to My Vital C, or are you thinking like some people might compare it to vitamin C, and then there's companies in the C60 space, like what? Yeah,
C60, yeah.
yeah. So here's how we think about it, right? One, just to preface this, remember that paper where 50% of the supplements on the market don't have in them what they say they have in them. Like counteracting that was the reason we got into this industry, which we didn't really want to get into. I think I've made that clear. We think of C60 as industrial applications, and we actually sell it for industrial applications, and we ship it to institutions. Our lab does. It sends it to institutions, research institutions around the world, and they still put it into inks, batteries, tires, and photocells. And there's peer-reviewed published research that proves that C60, if it's not processed properly, is harmful, right? ESS60, we really spun off at the time that we did a test of 22 of the products in the C60 space and realized that they were woefully low in concentration, right? So we knew this 50% was going to happen, right? Like 50% of the supplements on the market don't have in them what they have in them. We knew it was going to happen. We didn't think it would happen to this degree because it actually takes a lot more technical expertise to manufacture this product than most products. As an example, manufacturing takes 3 weeks of mixing. If you were to wake up one day and decide that you wanted to be wealthy with a supplement, you would probably not choose this supplement because it takes 3 weeks of mixing to make. Not only you're sourcing a quality product to begin with, and then making sure it's purified so that you can give it to people and pets. So those are reasons that we wouldn't do that. So C60, industrial applications. ESS60 is C60 that's been processed for people and pets, right? So we do have some pet products out there, but that really is our way of keeping people safe, keeping people with a high concentration product, and keeping them out of, that research paper where, peer-reviewed published 50% of the supplements on the market don't have in them what they say they have in them. We're the lab, we're the oldest and longest manufacturer and distributor of this molecule. Our material was used in the original study. Nobody else can claim that. We're actually mentioned in that original study. So that's that's the way we see the difference.
Okay, that's an incredible answer. Thank you. We're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about more of like the applications, why somebody would use this, when, how, and here's some testimonials, right? Of like people who are actually using this stuff and what kind of benefits they're getting out of it, because I think that's the best part. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
There's a new word for wellness, Nikki. Nikki, the bioenergetic wearable designed to help you feel better and perform better. Other wearables just track how you're doing. Nikki is about helping you do better. Touch the Nikki screen to choose the frequency you want for what you want to do and how you want to feel. Nikki puts a personal wellness center in your hands and on your wrist. Be better. Do better. We are Nikki.com.
Hey, I'm Steve. I'm an engineer, a biohacker, and a dad, and I love my Nikki. I use 3 different programs on this one mostly. In the mornings, I run Energy Boost, which honestly is about the equivalent of a cup of coffee. I still have my coffee, but this does make a difference. After work, I run my stress and anxiety program, and that takes me from being like, task mode from work to really kind of chilled out dad mode, which is nice. And occasionally when I need it, I run the pain program as well. I actually tore my ACL last September, middle of September, and I was running again by middle of October. No surgery, no therapy, just the pain program once a day. So I've worked with red light therapy for several years now, and like I said, this is just about my favorite because it is so easy to use. I just put it on my wrist in the morning, run it all day, don't even notice it's there except for how I feel, so I love it.
Nikki Wellness Technology. delivering frequency-enhanced health. wearenikki.com.
Woohoo! Welcome back. Are you just excited to learn a little bit more like as I am? Because again, it's still kind of like wrapping my brain around. I'm still back to batteries, ink, and right? I'm like still kind of hung up on that. I'm like, why am I taking this again? Oh, right, longevity space. So tell us a little bit more about some of the areas that you've seen it help support, and give us some testimonials.
Yeah, well, our most consistent testimonial is people take the product in the morning, they report mental focus and energy during the day, and then better sleep that night. Now, sleep, like I'm sure it's in everything you think about as you're talking to people, as you're helping people. We all understand that sleep is good for our mental, physical, and emotional well-being. So that has a cascade of positive benefits. I'll tell you, in 2018, when we really started bringing this product to market, my role was to understand how this works, right? Because it's very interesting. You've got these Wistar rats, they live 90% longer. We've got these testimonials from wacky biohackers that their knee pain is gone, their hair is growing back. By the way, let me just throw out there, the FDA has not evaluated our product. It is not intended to treat, diagnose, prevent, or cure any disease. I will share some anecdotes. I always say, because this is such a new product, it's best to assume these things won't happen for you. If you dig into the research and you want to, check it out for yourself, we will be giving you a link at the end of the show, a custom link for this audience only. So I'm excited about that. So first rule, is a 90% extension of life a big deal? Yes, it turns out it is. The next best way to live longer is calorie restriction. Reduce your calories by 30%. You can extend your life by 30%. I call that the starve yourself 1/3 to death diet. And when you have a little folder and you're trying to get people to sign up for it, no one signs up for the starve yourself 1/3 to death diet.
Ooh, me.
Even though we're handing out little sweaters because you're going to feel cold. Maybe they need new marketing, but that's a 30% extension of life, and it has a lot more research. There's no misgivings about that. Well, we're talking about a 90% extension. So yes, it's a big deal. What are the potential mechanisms of action? First, we land on sleep because we're getting it such a consistent testimonial, and that can improve your mental, physical, and emotional well-being. Next, I kind of pulled back and said, we've got this 90% extension of life. What does the medical community think about aging, right? And they don't all agree, right? That's good. That's how science works. But they tend to think of it as an oxidation and an inflammation process, right? And we check both of those boxes, and let me run you through that because we have to be very careful with inflammation. In terms of an antioxidant, there's an ad hoc study out on the web showing us to be 172 times more powerful than vitamin C. Vitamin C, of course, the go-to, like you're getting sniffles, you're going into flu season, you're like, let me eat some oranges, let me get my vitamin C. We have peer-reviewed published research paper that shows us to be 125 times more powerful than vitamin C. So we definitely have a checkbox on that one. Next is inflammation. Now, the FDA has equated inflammation with the diseases of inflammation. So if I say that I reduce chronic inflammation, what the FDA thinks I'm saying is that I reduce arthritis, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, cancer, all of these classic diseases of aging. You need so much more research. Then those are the kinds of studies that we may never do because of the costs. You need so much more research than that. What the FDA does allow us to say is we address acute inflammation. So we've all exercised really vigorously, or maybe even just walked longer than we normally do, and woke up that next day and felt that inflammation in our bodies. The FDA allows us to say that we address that inflammation. Now, I got to share this last thing because this just happened at A4M in Las Vegas, the Longevity Fest. A Dr. Lane Young came to the booth. I'll be honest, I didn't remember having an extensive conversation with him at Dave Asprey's biohacking conference, but apparently I did. He was giving our product to a lot of his patients, and he said this. I actually took a video because it was so profound. He said, Chris, I don't care if you're male, female, if you're pre-surgery, post-surgery, pre-diabetic, diabetic, cardiovascular disease, cancer, your product reduces C-reactive, actually HS, so high sensitivity C-reactive protein dramatically in 4 to 6 weeks. Now, and he gave this particular example. So HSCRP is an inflammatory marker, right? So typically when your body's inflamed, when you're having challenges, whether they be virus, bacterial, cancer, like whatever, your hsCRP is elevated because your body's in alarm mode, in emergency mode, and that's one of the indicators. He shared that he had a client that was sitting at 9, an hsCRP of 9. And what I learned later, actually, with a conversation with a cancer doctor, is that 9 typically means you have cancer. We assume you have cancer until we prove otherwise. That's the kind of inflammation that is. He gave that particular patient our product, and within 6 weeks, so 4 to 6 weeks, it reduced it to 0.9. So dramatically reduced hsCRP. So I can talk about that, but I can't say we address inflammation, right? So those are those two. Now, I want to give the last kind of our most recent theory, which takes that antioxidant capability and it's like on steroids, and then you've thrown fire on it with gasoline, and then it's exploded, and then you keep going. and so I'm going to get a little sciencey. It's about the mitochondria, which I'm sure most of your audience knows is the powerhouse of every cell. And then I've got a fun analogy at the end. So we know from peer-reviewed published research, by the way, this is called the BOSS theory, buffering oxidative stress system. So we know from peer-reviewed published research that this ESS60 molecule gets into the mitochondria. And we know from way back in the 90s that it can actually hold onto 6 negatively charged particles on the exterior of this cage. That's just the double carbon-carbon double bonds enables that. So just briefly, mitochondria is the powerhouse of every cell. Every cell in your body has between 50 and 5,000 mitochondria, except for your blood cells, which have 0, and your brain and neurons, which have 2 million, right? That's how much energy our nervous system uses compared to our other systems. There's a lot in your eyes too, but it's not 2 million. So a typical mitochondria, just like any power source you're familiar with, has a negative byproduct called reactive oxygen species. So your car going down the road has exhaust, your power plant has a smokestack with smoke coming out, and your mitochondria have reactive oxygen species. The way I like to describe it is reactive oxygen species, if not managed, are like little bumper cars running around doing damage in your body, oxidizing or rusting anything they bump into. Inside of mitochondria, you typically have glutathione and melatonin, the key antioxidants inside of mitochondria that manage those reactive oxygen species. And it is only when a mitochondria is stressed, whether it's through exercise, whether it's through that email, whether it's through, radiation, whatever cell phone radiation you're experiencing, whatever it is, when those mitochondria are stressed, they produce more reactive oxygen species than their glutathione and melatonin can manage. And that's when they run around and do damage. And that's where we think this ESS60 molecule comes in, holds on to those extra reactive oxygen species. And then when that mitochondria can replenish the glutathione and melatonin, it can then take those reactive oxygen species and manage them properly. So here's my fun analogy. It's the end of Mardi Gras. That's the beginning of every good analogy. It's the end of Mardi Gras. You're on Bourbon Street. You've got these drunk reactive oxygen species running around doing damage, painting the walls, smashing windows. And you have the New Orleans Police Department, the glutathione and melatonin, coming in and handcuffing themselves to these reactive oxygen species and getting them off of Bourbon Street. But what does the New Orleans Police Department do when they're overwhelmed? They take those reactive oxygen species, they put them in a paddy wagon so that they can't do any damage. And then when they can replenish the glutathione and the melatonin, they can then handcuff themselves to these reactive oxygen species and get them off of Bourbon Street. That's why we say that this ESS60 molecule is the boss, the buffering oxidative stress system. And then we can talk about what are the ramifications of reducing the negative impact of stressed mitochondria, systemically.
How long does it usually take for people to notice a difference? Because I know you say you typically, a lot of biohackers, and so a lot of times I found that I have a harder time noticing if I'm getting benefits from a supplement like this because I already do so many biohacking stuff. But for the regular, normal, typical Joe Schmo out there that's maybe got one foot in and out of the health world, right? Like, how long does it usually take for people to really notice a difference?
So I've got 2 examples to answer that question. So one of them is I got a video from an influencer we had sent some product to, and in the video, she had taken her product for the first time that day, recorded that video that night, and she shared that she noticed she didn't finish her cup of coffee. Because remember, most consistent testimonials, take it in the morning, mental focus and energy during the day, and better sleep that night. And if you're, a coffee person and you would have noted that you didn't finish your cup of coffee, like that's same day impact. And then this is another, this is actually a testimonial, and it includes arguably the worst testimonial about a supplement ever, but I'm going to share it anyway. So we have this distributor in Houston, actually our largest distributor in Houston. Her name is Gwen, and she originally ordered the product for her dog. She actually has a Shih Tzu, and she ordered it for her dog. Somebody kind of recommended it, and she noticed such a profound difference in her dog that she decided she wanted to try it. Now, I'll pause here because if you're hearing about something for the first time, something new, and this is definitely like a beta supplement, one of your concerns is placebo effect. Like all these people, are they just reporting the placebo effect? It has an impact everywhere. You got placebo and you got nocebo. But what you don't have is dogs experiencing the placebo effect, right? They're not smart enough, ironically, to know they got the little dropper, and so now they're going to have more energy today. They just act the way they feel. So her Shih Tzu was doing so well, she decided to take it. I recorded a video with her, and she said at the 3-month mark, if you had asked her if she had noticed anything, her first response would have been no. And she probably falls into this, biohacking, doing a lot of things. But then she said she stopped and took stock of her life, and she's working later. She's waking up earlier. She was never a morning person. And here's arguably the worst testimonial about a supplement ever. She cleaned her garage. Right? Right. So we don't use that in any, marketing material. But cleaning your garage means something. Sometimes it's the emotional baggage in the garage. Sometimes it's just the big project and you got other things and you don't want to go out there and spend the day, 2 days, maybe 5 days, depending on your garage. Right.
Oh, no, Chris.
Right? Maybe 10. Who knows? Right. But it's both emotional baggage and energy. And when you think about our most consistent testimonial, including sleep, that's really valuable. That's where we think that energy comes from. So it can be subtle for some people. And we do have, 5% of our customers will kind of go off of it. They often are on subscription. They're like, I haven't really noticed anything. And then they're like, oh, right. And I have conversations with people. There was one lady who was right next to us. Her office was right next to us. And I gave her a couple of bottles and I followed up like 10 days later. And she goes, hey, I said, have you noticed anything? And she was all disappointed, right? Like, oh, Chris, I haven't really noticed anything. And I was like, how's your sleep? And her eyes got like Bambi big. And she was like, I've been waking up at 5:30 every morning. She was former military. So that's apparently the right time for her. That's not my time, but that's her time, right? So she was waking up at 5:30 in the morning. And you just don't notice those things, right? If you think about sleep, and we could talk for hours on sleep. If you think about sleep, we often, normal people, not Brian Johnson, but normal people get, an extra hour of sleep tonight, 1 hour less sleep the other night. And so it's all over the place. And if you start getting 1 extra hour of sleep consistently, you're not really going to notice. Like you don't go, oh, that's because of the My Vital C that I've been taking with my coffee every morning. No, you got to be thinking about these things. And sometimes, like I said, for about 5% of our customers, they drop off. They're like, oh, I noticed what the difference is. And then they get back on.
No, I'm super excited. Like I think too, when I had the samples, it was unfortunately at the biohacking conference. So I have samples of 15 other things that I've tried. So knowing what was doing what, like it's time for me to experiment with this again. And I've got a cat who's got inflammatory issues that I haven't been able to figure out. She's itchy. She's kind of high histamine. So
Yep.
I want her to try this as well. So I'm
Maybe
super.
your cat's allergic to you? Wait,
Not
no, we're
funny.
allergic to cats.
Not funny. I'm going through a divorce and she's all I have.
Oh.
I'm getting ready to, send in for my crazy cat lady starter kit. So fingers crossed.
Well, we'll be happy to send you some products so you can have like, start things officially. And that'd be really good to kind of see your progress.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that. And then you had a special link. So tell us.
Yeah, so it is myvitalc, C as in carbon.com. So myvitalc.com/Nikki. That's the NIKKI. And that will take you to a landing page. There is a coupon code for $15 off your initial order on that landing page. So make sure you go to that landing page. here's what I'll share on the landing page. Our products are really the ESS60 molecule in either olive oil, avocado oil, or MCT oil. Some people are like, what should I take? You should start with the olive oil for two reasons. The first is we are a science-based organization. All of the research is in olive oil, so you should take olive oil. The next is you actually get a higher concentration of the ESS60 molecule in olive oil. So you get about 0.8 milligrams per milliliter in olive oil, 0.6 in avocado, and then 0.3 in MCT. I'm just going to share my routine. I obviously have unfettered access to as much of this as I want. I typically do a pseudo a bulletproof coffee thing, right? I get rid of the ghee and I have my coffee with our MCT in it, about 1.5 teaspoons of our MCT. While that's blending, right? Oil and water don't mix. You want to turn it into an emulsion. While that's blending, I take 1.5 teaspoons of our olive oil. So that's what you want to do. We also have, of course, the coupon code that's there for $15 off your initial order. And then we offer a 25% discount on subscription, even if you just want to try it once. Our customer service team has 1,000 5-star reviews on Google. They are not trained to talk you out of canceling your subscription. They're there to help you. They're also very knowledgeable. If you have any questions, call in, send an email. They'll gladly help you. But do take advantage of that subscription. I'm also going to share my book. I have a nice charity piece to the book. So the book is Live Longer and Better. My co-author is a 2-time New York Times #1 best-selling author. It's available on Amazon for $20. On our website, it's not on that landing page, but in the menu structure, you can find it. And it's for $20 on our website. And we also have this charity piece. If you pay $10, I'll sign it for you. And the full $10 goes to Operation Underground Railroad. So you may remember a movie called The Sound of Freedom, which was about child sex trafficking, obviously something that we need to solve. I saw the guy that movie's about. I saw him speak before that movie came out. The movie was amazing, of course, tear-jerking, but amazing. And so the full $10 or $15 if you want my co-author's signature also, that full $10 or $15 goes to Operation Underground Railroad, and we're excited to do that.
That is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure having you on, and I'll make sure to get that link in the show notes. While you're there, while you're at it, visit wearenikki.com/podcast, enter in BioBeats to get 10% off. And because we really love our customers and want to show appreciation, like I say, we give away a Nikki device with a wellness set of frequencies on every show. It's a $598 value. So you'll want to make sure to go to the show notes to enter. Good luck. A big shout out to February's winners. We got Russell B, Donna L, Kelsey P, and Melissa S. Congratulations. You just won a Nikki device along with the wellness set of frequencies, a $598 value. Amazing. Congratulations. You're going to love yours as much as I love mine. For everybody else who didn't win this month, keep trying, keep listening, share, like, subscribe, and who knows, maybe I'll be calling your name out next month. Good luck. Make sure to have a healthy day. Thanks again for joining us.
Hi, my name's Nicole. I want to tell you about this really cool device that I've got. It's called Nikki. I got it from Freemedica at their website, wearenikki.com. And it is what they call bioenergetic wearable frequency delivery device. And it has a bunch of different frequency sets on it, like nighttime, pain, sleep, stress and anxiety, travel, viruses and bacteria, and other things like that. I really, really love this device. In fact, I have 2 of them because when one is charging, I want to wear the other because I'm never without it. My top 3 frequencies, so I wear nighttime every night. I really need good sleep. I don't get good sleep unless I'm wearing nighttime. So that's a big one for me, and it helps me just kind of get to sleep. I put it on maybe about half an hour or so before I'm gonna go to bed, and then I have a really good 8 hours of sleep, 7-8 hours. My other one, I have arthritis in my neck, so I use the pain frequency every day. I am not without that frequency. I need it. It just really helps me to be fluid and to not have a lot of headaches or different things that go on with having arthritis in my neck. And my other frequency, I use stress and anxiety on the regular because I do morning prayer and meditation every morning. And the stress and anxiety just helps kind of calm everything down so that I can be present to do what I need to do in my meditation. I will say other frequencies that I use on the regular, when I'm leaving the house, I use travel, because I'm leaving my environment and I don't know what's out there, and I just want to make sure that I am, somewhat protected or have the best chance against whatever might be out there for me. And if I feel a little tickle of something coming on, I do use viruses and bacteria too. Like I said, I have 2 of them. I kind of made it my own because I put a band on it that I really love, and I can't get enough of it.
Nikki Wellness Technology. Delivering frequency enhanced health. wearenikki.com. The views, information, and opinions expressed in this content are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of FreeMedica. FreeMedica Technologies, Inc. and its employees are not responsible, nor verifies accuracy any of the information contained in the following content. The primary purpose of this content is to educate and inform. This content does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services.